Alright, what's poppin', people? We're back, and today I have a semifinals ADV NU game for y'all from NUPL between two of the best players in the pool. We got Jisoo on the left, we got Rosie Bear on the right. As you know from previous videos, Rosie Bear didn't play for like 4 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. Maybe 5 weeks, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But he'd been picking up wins ever since he started playing. And Jisoo, just known commodity of very, very good. So, obviously was hyped to see this matchup. These are two really good players going at it. And those are always going to be fun games. And we're going to see an incredible 50-50 late in this battle that I do want to talk about. Because I think, man, this is why these sort of competitive games are so stressful for me. 50-50s like the one that are in this are actually some of the just absolute worst to have to deal with, so we're going to talk about it when we get to it. But as per usual, reminder, if you're not subscribed, man, drop a subscription. We're trying to make 5,000, just 5k subs by the end of the year, and I need your help. So if you're not already subscribed, click the button, and leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Let's get into it. So we're going to see Glalie lead from Jisoo, Octillery lead from Rosie. This is always a pretty free spike from Jisoo. You're going to be faster than the Octillery. You can guarantee at least one. Rosie Bear actually ends up going for a Surf here instead of Fire Blast. I did not mean to reset. I think he was just trying to make sure he did get some chip on the Glalie, because this Pokemon, a little bit of a nuisance. It's really versatile with its EV spreads that it can go, and even its movesets. So this could have been, for example, a light screen Glalie lead. I don't think you would light screen versus Octillery if you're just trying to guarantee a spike, because Fire Blast is going to 2-hit KO you anyway, so you're better off just spiking. Actually, no, light screen would still be the play. Light screen, and you get that buffer for your next Pokemon. Anyhow. Regardless, this ball's probably always going to spike. The Surf here ends up being a bit of a choke, though, because Fire Blast from lead Octillery into lead Glalie more than likely is going to actually be able to pick up the KO. It's about a 50% chance if it's just max HP Glalie. From what I've been seeing lately, most of these lead Glalies are just offensive, though. You'll usually see bulkier variants kept around in the back, so that they can still be used to pivot into Pokemon like a Haunter. Even a Wailord with enough special bulk, you can even kind of bounce some of its hits off of you. So, I think it would honestly still be best to Fire Blast if you're in Rosie's position. Offensive Glalie with no bulk at all will always fold to Fire Blast. And like we said, if it's max HP, max speed, which would be probably the most I'd be willing to compromise personally on a late Glalie, you're still going to be taking 50% odds at living that, so bit of a misplay. Let's see how Rosie Bear tries to accommodate. So he's going to go Glalie here. Now, he could have opted to spike there, because Metang will not KO you. Most Metang are just bulky. At this point in ADV NU, offensive variants of Metang are just really not common. You want the bulk for Pokemon like Haunter, and even the normal types like Raticate and Pidgeot. Even if you're a strip offensive Glalie, you do take a Meteor Mash. So he could have spiked. He chooses to instead preserve his Glalie's health to potentially switch into something later on in the game. And I think that's a fine play. Now we're going to just see, standard trading of the Toxics, the Protecting on the Fire Blast, just some standard stuff here. And Rosie's going to just throw off another Fire Blast, hit the Wailord, and we're going to see where keeping that Glalie at full does come into play, actually. The Glalie's going to be able to tank this Hydro Pump. Meteor Mash damage easily would have that in range. And we're going to see Rosie make a really good read here. Get a Boom off on the Wailord. That's going to be very nice for later on, just because it gives his Torkoal more room. Now, the unfortunate thing is, it's poisoned. But being able to make sure this Wailord is gone is really nice. You don't have to worry about it booming versus anything else on your team. Tanking random hits you don't want it to. The drawback, of course, to booming when Rosie did is he won't get a spike ever this game, but honestly, I think getting rid of the Wailord is still a fine choice to make. We'll see how that could impact the game going forward, of course. Torkoal versus the Metang. You know this is always just going to go for a Protect. There's no reason for it never not to. And now we're going to see a play here that I probably could check some lines from Rosie Bear to see if he dropped his logic on this boom here, but he booms onto the Torkoal. I don't know if that was because he was predicting like a Flareon to come out there, or another water type, but he ends up catching just damage onto a Torkoal. That's a little tough, because this Metang now, just based on what's been revealed, especially with the Dugong now coming out, you see double water. Triple water is not something that sees much use at all. I've seen it maybe one time ever. You know, you look at Rosie's rest of Mons, there's not a whole lot of things you see generally with these 4 revealed that are going to be able to really deal with this sort of Metang. So let's watch it put in some overtime now. It's going to switch into Surf. It's going to switch into another Surf. Well, I guess that's how you deal with the Metang, right? But it's just trying to meet some win conditions for Jisoo right now. Just making sure to get that like slow chip on everything else on Rosie's team. And you're going to always find some turns to force a Pokemon out and get some health back. The Metang comes out here now. You do have a Blossom that's going to come out here on the repeated Earthquake. And this is going to give a bit of an issue to Rosie if he doesn't boom there. I actually kind of forgot that the boom came out there. Oh god, I autopiloted a little bit, saw Earthquake, and just assumed Protect Toxic, when I literally just watched the replay before this commentary to refresh myself. But yeah, Rosie always has to boom there. Surprise, his last Pokemon is Chimecho, and if he doesn't go for boom there, yeah, Blossom wins. It just does. So Sleep Powder would have, I guess in this context, been a better play. The worry is that with Jisoo's team, weakened as it is, you know, Glalie gone, Wailord got picked off by a very good boom with Rosie's Glalie. There's not a lot that switches into this Dugong. And so Sunny Dang, to make sure that this Pokemon can't pivot on a Sleep Powder, is in general going to be your safest play. Does kind of suck, because yeah, this Mon could have just won the game if this wasn't boom, but hey, that's the game we play. Anyhow, Torkoal's going to come out now, and it's going to obviously be forced into Metang. The nice thing being here, though, with Sun Up, you're actually able to switch around the Dugong now, and that's absolutely huge for Jisoo. I believe Jisoo's last ends up being Haunter, and obviously that's not switching into Dugong very well. You know, especially, you know, pending EV spread, Haunter might get just blasted. Chime would switch into it really easily in follow-up turns. I mean, Dugong potentially could just, like, clean the game up if that Sun wasn't set, so really coming in clutch, even though Blossom wasn't able to show how awesome it is. Clean up Blade. It's alright. And we're gonna see a taunt now here. Now, unfortunately, you know, Torkoal, most common set, Fire Blast, Hidden Power Grass, Explosion, Toxic. Really all you're preventing is the Toxic, so you're very, very, very forced into your Dugong here because you don't want to risk getting boomed on. And there we do see the boom. Now here we're going to see something quite interesting from Jisoo. This Haunter's going to reveal Hidden Power Dark. And it's going to do a lot. You know, it's going to do more than enough to put you in a favorable spot. It's just, oh god, just, oh, Hidden Power Dark, yuck. And now we're going to see the trading of damage. Now, here's our glorified, glorious 50-50. Jisoo should have a rough idea of what Rosie's Chimecho EV spread is, just having seen the earlier Meteor Mash damage that they got on the Chimecho. So you'll know that this thing isn't offensive, of course. Also seeing the Hidden Power Fire damage here. You knew that anyway. If you really needed more confirmation, which you didn't, but hey, whatever. We got a very unpleasant 50-50 we're facing. So, Hidden Power Fire from Rosie obviously KOs Metang at the range it's at. You know, after lefties, it's going to be at 28. We just saw it do 29. Assuming no devious damage rolls, you pick it off safely there always. Toxic will do 6, and then do 12 the next turn, and then do 18. So you're looking probably at there being 3 total instances more of Toxic that are going to happen in this battle. Like, this battle cannot go on for much more than, well, once this turn concludes, 2 more turns. And we know Mash does about 28, if I'm remembering right. My logic when I was watching this game, real time, I think you always HP Fire as Rosie. And I think you always protect as Jisoo. I think those are not necessarily objectively correct lines, but, you know, I've been thinking about that sequence for a while, because it is, like I said, quite a stressful 50-50 to make. So why do I think those are the best lines? Well, obviously, if this Matang does not protect, it is dead to an HP Fire. I just don't want to risk that. I think HP Fire, because of how safe it is from Rosie, he has no reason not to just go for it here. Because it'll either KO Matang if it doesn't protect, or at worst case scenario, you can hope for a like miss from Mash the next turn. Actually, missing Mash doesn't do anything for you. You can hope for a crit though still. Because if the Meteor Mash, you know, say the protect here, then they Meteor Mash miss the next turn. Let me think real quick. So protect here, you're gonna, okay, so lefties, you're at 43. You take 12 the next turn, you'd be down to 31. That's after protect. Actually, it'd be 37 because lefties didn't take damage. And then you're gonna be down to 25 if they have to protect again. Wait, no, yeah, why am I saying a miss wouldn't matter? It'd matter a whole bunch. Yeah, so that's why I think forgetting my own logic. HP Fire is incredible, or not incredible, but HP Fire I think is just the best play because it gives you the most outs in a, I don't want to say unfavored sequence because frankly, this is pretty equal on each side, but I think it gives you the best odds of winning, factoring in potential luck. As if, even on the protect tier, if you HP Fire the next turn and they miss, you should win the game just because you'll be able to effectively 2-hit KO. If you Calm Mind and they protect, yes, you do win every time. And because of how Jisoo is almost forced to protect just because HP Fire is relatively safe, you know, again, you're talking like they have to protect, so I Calm Mind here because if they don't protect at HP Fire, they always lose. You see what I mean by this being stressful? My bad if I'm not explaining it well, but it's because it's this sort of like, every play feels like it's equally possible that makes me hate this turn so much. Because if you're Jisoo, you have to protect, but you also are tempted to mash because of how you have to protect. Because you want to mash if they go for CM on your very predicted protect. But you have to protect, because if you don't, you're getting HP fired and you die. You see what I mean here. And if you're Rosie, you HP fire so you don't get mashed, but you want to Calm Mind because the protect is so obvious, because if they don't protect, they just lose to your HP fire. But HP fire also still can potentially bail you out, assuming good luck in terms of a mash miss or a crit. Anyhow, that's all to say. I think HP Fire from Rosie, Protect from Matang, those are 2 best lines. And we do see those taken. Unfortunately for Rosie, he is not going to get the luck that he would need. You see lefties literally taking out a range. And then Meteor Mash, of course, doing just enough to put the Chimecho in KO range. And that'll be it for this battle, guys. This was like a turn that got a lot of discussion in the NU Discord, and I do agree with what Arctic Breeze said about how there's really no objectively correct play to make there. It, at the end of the day, is a glorified 50-50. I would still favor the overall sequence ever so slightly to Rosie. Just slightly, because I feel like he had, since he is on the, what's it called? He's in a slightly more favorable position because Jisoo is almost forced into the protect play. So there's a little bit, I feel like Jisoo has to maybe think a little bit more. You know, luck can go Rosie's way. He can just win the 50-50. There's more that could go right for him, But at the end of the day, the line that got taken gave Jisoo the best odds. Or not the best odds, but it was the safest line for Jisoo. And I think that's why it was taken. That's all to say. I hope y'all enjoyed this battle, guys. If anyone wants to comment asking for a better explanation, go for it. I'll do my best. But I hope y'all still enjoyed nonetheless. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.